Have you ever noticed how a toddler can light up a room just by walking into it, and yet, that same little face can crumple into tears in the blink of an eye? One minute, they're laughing over a toy car, and the next, they're on the floor, kicking and screaming, and you're left wondering, what just happened? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Parenting toddlers, or even just helping raise one, can be a wonderful but puzzling adventure. And if you're a grandparent, aunt, uncle, or even a neighbor lending a helping hand, you probably know how easy it is to miss the little signs that something deeper is going on. Toddlers don't use words the way we do. Instead, they use behavior, sometimes loud, confusing, or even frustrating behavior, to express needs they can't yet explain. And one of the most common unmet needs is attention. Not the let's give them a toy kind of attention, but real, connected, heart-to-heart attention. Now, before we go any further, let's pause for a moment. This isn't about blame. If you're a parent, you already carry 1,000 responsibilities. And if you're over 60 and helping care for a toddler, you're already doing something wonderful. You're offering wisdom, patience, and presence in a world that often moves too fast. But even with the best intentions, it's easy to overlook the quieter cries for connection. That's what we're here to talk about. Today, we're going to gently explore 5 key signs that a toddler might not be getting the attention they need, and more importantly, how to fix it in ways that are simple, loving, and doable for anyone at any age. Let's start with one of the most misunderstood behaviors, clinginess. You know what I mean, the toddler who follows you everywhere, won't let go of your leg, or insists on sitting in your lap even when you're trying to fold laundry or make a cup of tea. It might feel a little overwhelming at times. You might wonder, why can't they just play by themselves for a few minutes? But here's the truth, clinginess is rarely about being spoiled or needy. It's often a quiet way of saying, I need more of you. I need to feel safe. When toddlers cling, they're not trying to annoy you, they're trying to feel close to you, to feel seen. And sometimes, that clinging means they're not getting enough of your undivided attention during the day. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Life is busy. But for little ones, 10 minutes of full presence, no phones, no distractions, can mean the world. Try this sometime. Put everything down, sit with them on the floor, and just follow their lead. Let them show you their toy, even if it doesn't make much sense. Let them cook you a pretend meal in their toy kitchen. Those moments, though small, fill up their emotional tank. And when that tank is full, you'll notice something beautiful. The clinginess starts to fade, not because they're pushing you away, but because they feel safe enough to explore on their own. Now, the second sign is a little trickier to spot because it can look like misbehavior. We're talking about tantrums that seem to come out of nowhere, over something as simple as putting on socks, picking up toys, or turning off the TV. You might think, why such a big reaction to such a small thing? But here's something we often forget, toddlers don't throw tantrums to be bad. They throw tantrums because it's the only way they know how to release a storm of emotions they can't name. And when a child isn't getting enough emotional connection during the day, enough attention that says, I see you, I'm here, you matter, those little moments of frustration build up inside them like pressure in a balloon. Eventually, that balloon pops. The tantrum isn't the real issue. It's just the release. Now, I'm not saying that giving more attention will magically erase every meltdown. Toddlers are still learning how to handle their big feelings. But what I am saying is this, when a child feels connected, when they've had regular moments of loving, positive attention, they're more grounded. Their nervous system feels safer. And when they do have a tantrum, it passes more quickly, with less intensity. What can you do? It might be as simple as looking them in the eyes when they talk, even if their words are jumbled. Or taking just 5 minutes to sit together quietly before dinner, without multitasking. Even a short walk hand in hand, pointing out birds or flowers, tells them, you matter to me. I want to share this moment with you. And here's something that might surprise you, this kind of attention doesn't take energy from us, it often restores it. Because when we slow down, even for a few minutes, to truly connect with a child, it softens something in us too. It reminds us what's really important. Now that we've talked about clinginess and tantrums, let's keep going because there's another sign that's often misunderstood, and that's when toddlers start to act out or misbehave more than usual. Because when toddlers act out, when they hit, throw things, shout, or start doing the exact opposite of what you just asked, it's not always about discipline. Sometimes, it's simply their way of saying, "Do you see me? Can you hear me?" It's hard to believe, but for many young children, even negative attention feels better than being ignored. When they sense that being calm or quiet doesn't get much of a response, but acting out gets them noticed, they'll choose mischief. Not because they want to be bad, but because they're desperate for connection. It's heartbreaking when you think about it that way, isn't it? Now, that doesn't mean you should reward bad behavior or ignore rules. But it does mean that we need to tune in before the misbehavior even starts. Sometimes, what they really need is attention before they go looking for it in the wrong ways. Think of it like watering a plant before it wilts. A few minutes of playful, positive interaction now can prevent the meltdown or the mischief later. One simple idea is what some people call special time. It doesn't have to be long. Just 10 or 15 minutes where the child gets your undivided attention, doing something they choose. You can call it your time together, or just say, "Let's play." The magic isn't in the activity, it's in the feeling of being the center of your world, even just for a few minutes. And here's the real beauty of this kind of time, it fills them up emotionally. When toddlers feel truly seen, they don't need to scream for attention. They already have it. They carry that feeling with them through the rest of the day, and their behavior begins to reflect that security. Of course, not all signs of unmet emotional needs are loud or obvious. Sometimes, they're quiet, almost invisible unless you know what to look for. That brings us to something many people miss: withdrawal. Have you ever seen a toddler just sit off to the side, not really playing, not really engaging, just kind of fading into the background? They're not fussing, not demanding anything, but something still feels off. Maybe they stop talking as much. Maybe they stop smiling. Maybe they just seem distant. When toddlers feel like they've tried to connect and haven't been successful, or when life around them feels too busy, too chaotic, they sometimes shut down. It's not defiance. It's not laziness. It's quiet sadness. And it can easily be mistaken for good behavior, especially when things are hectic. But silence isn't always peace. Sometimes it's a call for help. What they need in those moments isn't more toys or distractions. They need your presence. Just sitting with them, holding their hand, or softly talking about their day can work wonders. You don't even have to get them to talk right away. Just your steady, gentle presence sends the message that you see them, you love them, and they're not alone. And this is especially important if you're an older caregiver. You might not always be the one chasing them around the playground or kneeling on the floor for hours of pretend play. But what you do have is something incredibly powerful: time, patience, and the ability to slow down in a way that many younger parents struggle to. That quiet, steady attention is something a toddler craves. They don't always know how to ask for it, but when they get it, it soothes something deep inside them. And here's one more quiet sign we can't ignore: sleep issues. If a toddler who used to sleep well suddenly starts resisting bedtime, waking up frequently, or having more night terrors, it might be more than a phase. Sometimes, these disturbances are their body's way of processing emotional disconnection. Sleep is when the brain organizes all the feelings and experiences of the day. And when a toddler doesn't feel emotionally full, when they go to bed still craving connection, it can show up as restlessness. You might notice them calling for you more at bedtime, asking for just one more story, or needing more cuddles. They're not trying to stall. They're looking for closeness they might have missed during the day. And here's the comforting part: bedtime is actually one of the easiest times to restore that connection. A calm, gentle bedtime routine can create some of the strongest bonding moments between you and a child. Even just 5 minutes of reading a book together, a gentle song, or talking about their day can create emotional security that lasts the whole night. It's not about how long the routine is, it's about how focused and loving those minutes feel. As older caregivers, you have the ability to create these rhythms of love. Maybe your knees aren't what they used to be. Maybe you get tired more easily than before. But what you bring, the steadiness, the presence, the tenderness, is irreplaceable. You don't have to be fast. You just have to be there. That's what toddlers truly need. These signs, clinginess, tantrums, acting out, withdrawal, sleep struggles, they aren't signs of failure. They're signs of opportunity. They're little emotional beacons saying, "See me. Be with me." And the good news? You don't need to change everything. Just one extra moment of eye contact, one little game, one quiet cuddle before nap time, that's enough to make a difference. Now that we've looked at these signals, let's keep going and explore how we can respond to them in simple, everyday ways that bring more connection, more peace, and more joy to both the child and to us. Because when we start to recognize those signals and respond with calm, intentional presence, everything begins to shift. And that brings us to one more sign that's often overlooked: regression. You might see a toddler who was already potty trained suddenly start having accidents. Or a child who used to talk in full sentences now using baby talk again. Maybe they start needing a pacifier or asking to be carried more than usual. It can feel confusing, especially when you thought you had already moved past those stages. But regression isn't failure. It's not a step backward in development, it's a red flag. Often, it's the child's way of saying, "I'm overwhelmed. I'm unsure. I need more comfort than I'm getting." Toddlers don't have the words to say, "I've been feeling disconnected," so they go back to what once felt safe. And just like adults might crave comfort food during stress, toddlers crave the comfort of familiar behaviors when their emotional world feels shaky. This can happen during big transitions, like starting preschool, a new sibling arriving, or even when they sense that a caregiver is stressed or less available. The best thing we can do in these moments is not to push them to snap out of it, but to meet them where they are, with extra patience, more physical closeness, and the reassurance that we're still here, steady and loving, no matter what. You might say something gentle like, "You're having a lot of big feelings right now. It's okay. I'm here with you." Or simply offer a cuddle without words. Sometimes, just holding space is the most powerful kind of attention there is. Now, what if you're watching this and thinking, "I wish I had done things differently," or "I missed some of these signs with my children or grandchildren"? Please don't carry that guilt. We all do the best we can with what we know at the time. And the beautiful thing about children is how forgiving and resilient they are. Even small shifts, starting today, can rebuild connection. It's never too late to give more love. So, what are some simple, meaningful ways we can offer more attention without wearing ourselves out? One of the easiest is what I like to call connection through rhythm. Toddlers thrive on predictability. They feel safer when they know what comes next, when bedtime, meals, or playtime follow a familiar flow. And within those rhythms, we can add tiny rituals that build connection without adding more to our plate. Maybe it's always singing the same silly song before brushing teeth. Or having a 3-second hug every time they put their shoes on. These moments become little anchors of love in their day. Another powerful tool is narration. Just describing what your toddler is doing, even if it's the 100th time they've stacked blocks, can be a huge source of connection. You might say, "Wow, you're putting the red block on top of the blue one. Look at that tall tower." To us, it might seem trivial. But to them, it says, "You see me. You're paying attention." If you're physically limited or get tired easily, you don't have to do more. You just have to be more present in what you already do. Sit beside them while they play. Listen without rushing when they babble. Look at what they're pointing at, even if it's just a bird in the yard or a speck on the floor. These quiet acknowledgments build deep emotional security. And here's something even more surprising: when toddlers feel seen and heard, they don't need constant attention. In fact, they often play more independently, nap more peacefully, and even eat better. That's the magic of true connection. It doesn't exhaust us. It nourishes both them and us. And if you're a grandparent, you bring a kind of attention that no one else can. Your stories, your calmness, your slower pace, all of that is a gift in a world that's often too loud and too fast for children. Don't underestimate how powerful your presence is, even in the smallest moments. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought: giving toddlers enough attention isn't about doing more. It's about being more aware, more present, more attuned to the little signals that say, I need you. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up with love, again and again. A child who feels seen grows up with confidence. A toddler who feels heard learns to use their voice. And a child who feels loved, truly loved, not with things, but with time and presence, grows into someone who knows how to love others, too. If this message spoke to you, or if you've seen these signs in your own child or grandchild, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What small changes are you inspired to try? What's worked for you in the past? Let's share and support one another. We're all learning. We're all doing our best. If you found this helpful, go ahead and like the video, and be sure to subscribe for more warm, practical advice for raising happy, healthy little ones, with all the wisdom and heart that comes from experience. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. And here's to all the beautiful, small moments of connection that shape a child's life and remind us that we're never too old to make a difference.